took a break from my show yesterday morning, and I think in a lot of ways it was felt real good. And it was actually kind of hard for me because I do this show every morning. I talk for, I don't know, an hour or so. And yesterday morning, I just didn't feel I wanted to do it for a bunch of reasons. I think it become work for me. And it was work that I was trying about as hard as I could at. I was going live, I was editing videos, I was probably spending, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours a day working, trying to build Coffee with Ken. And I don't know if it was still a labor of love or just a labor. Maybe it was a labor of love, but hold on a second. And a few nights ago, while playing around with some AI tools, most specifically an editing tool called Opus Clips, I saw an ad for it on social media and thought I'd give it a try. And it turns out like their pro plan on Opus Clips, it's a long story that might not go anywhere for you guys, but that's okay. Gave like 300 minutes of editing power a month. And for 300 minutes of editing, since I go live, you know, at least an hour a day on average, is only 5 days of editing. So on their pro plan only gives enough for 5 days of editing. What good's that gonna do? And I tried to listen to the videos. I edit all these lives into shorts and reels and TikToks. And I tried to listen to them at high speeds. But I think, as silly as it sounds, I think there's something nearly hypnotic about my pattern of speech, I think. And when I was listening to it at a faster pace, hoping to get through the editing process a little quicker, while I found some funny little things I'd say, I think I was missing a bulk of the story. And my point is, so listening at high speeds didn't seem to be working, and using Opus Clips wasn't very viable because, again, their pro plan only allowed for 300 minutes of editing, five videos a month. So I didn't know what to do. So I didn't do anything. I mean, I did something, and it was probably the hardest thing for me to do, was take a day off posting videos, a day off editing, and a day off going live yesterday. And that was hard for me to do. But it worked. I did some things that I felt were worthwhile in the morning instead of talking to you guys before I had to get ready for work. I remember sitting there. Actually, I don't know if this is kind of cheating. I hopped on AI and go, well, what the heck am I gonna do? I'm just sitting here by myself. Not used to that. Felt panicked. Sipped my coffee, read a passage from the Bible. Got out my yoga mat. I'll tell you what, when your mind's quiet, when you're trying to keep your mind quiet, it's when it really starts racing. And I wanted to sit and do nothing. And I said, well, if I light the candle, is that doing something? Is that just mental stimulation to keep me from my thoughts? If I turn on my fireplace, is that mental stimulation? Is going to the gym trying to distract you from your thoughts? Is going to work? Is reading the Bible? Is taking a bath? Is everything we do trying to distract us from the monkey mind that we all have jumping around inside us? I'm not sure what the answer is. I think maybe it is. I think the hardest thing for a human to do is just sit in their own thoughts and maybe we're not meant to sit in our own thoughts. Because I was about to bring up meditation. But even in meditation, we don't really sit in our own thoughts. We focus on our breath. The sounds, the feelings of the breathing going in and out. And maybe that's what I was confusing yesterday. I thought like meditation was the purest form of sitting in our own thoughts. But now that I think about it, it's really not. Because again, instead of me going, crap, what am I going to do? Crap, how am I going to pay the bills? Crap, is it going to be cold outside? Crap, do I need to find a new job? Instead, I'm putting all that mental focus on my lungs and the act of them taking in air and letting it out and the sound that it makes in my body. So even that, you're keeping your mind occupied a little bit. Somebody said, hey, I saw your video where you were talking about being a stockbroker and drinking, smoking weed. How bad were you? I was a stockbroker from 1990 to 2000. I started drinking into high school, kind of probably when most people start. I went to college, I joined a fraternity, I got really drunk a lot. And I'd say I was probably more of a mess than people knew. And it wasn't just drinking. Again, I posted a video yesterday. It was the reason I was drinking. It was to hide from my thoughts and hide from my feelings and feel okay. It wasn't even a celebratory party juice, if you will, which I sometimes refer to. When I got to college and was able to, or got out of college, I was able to afford, I don't know, more things, more alcohol, more gambling, more partying, if you will. And trained by the need to get back into the office the following morning, I got pretty good at going in not feeling so well. But I was kind of living the life you live. I was single, I was making a lot of money, I was living in the city, I was going out every night, and doing a stressful job. Could I rewind? And we can't. I think that choice I made to go into that business right after college was very impactful and has a lot to do with why I'm here in an apartment in Wisconsin right now. What got me into real estate? Richard Wallace wants to know. Can I hold that? Can I get to my coffee? So yeah, I'll get to my coffee. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. My name is Ken Tracy, and this is Coffee with Ken. It is Thursday morning. It is, I don't know, probably January 29th, I think. It's 5:32. Happy Thursday. Coffee with Ken's a show I've done for a long time. It's a show about me talking. It is a show about me sharing some feelings, kind of sharing a little bit about the ups and downs we have in life, kind of sharing the adventure that is my life. And I think by sharing my little adventure of life, I think some of the insecurities that I deal with or the stressors or the thoughts bouncing around or the lessons I've learned also apply to other people. Because I think we all have our stuff. But anyway, for those that have been watching a while, you know it's not just a show about me talking. You know it's also a show about me sharing my love of coffee. And with that in mind, I got a nice hot cup of coffee in front of me, and I am so excited to have my first sip at this pretty darn early hour on this Thursday morning. My hope is wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you got a hot cup of coffee in front of you as well. Cheers to us. It's funny. That's nice. I'm gonna have another sip before I talk about it anymore. Hold on. Oh, remind myself to go to the grocery store on the way back from work today. It is the end of a bag of Sumatra coffee from Starbucks and a little bit more of a bag of sea salt caramel by, I think, Cameron's. Had a couple. It feels good to kind of get rid of the bags, kind of clean out my cupboard and go, all right, well, that's all I got of that, and that's all I got of that. Let's see how it tastes. Oh, but it's nice. Somebody asked, why did I leave the brokerage business? I couldn't do it anymore. It was, if you've seen The Wolf of Wall Street, it was a little like that. Or if you've seen Boiler Room, it was a little like that. I worked for Lehman Brothers before my senior year in college. I was a dialer or a cold caller, and I sat there for $5 an hour and made call after call trying to connect wealthy people to brokers. And I'll tell you what, that was a hard job. Mind-numbing. Getting through secretaries and getting the business owner on the phone all day long. Talk about facing rejection. But anyway, I did that for 10 years. I did fairly well. I don't know that I was meant for sales. I think I'd rather hug somebody or consult somebody than talk them into doing something. But if you followed the script and you used a very high pressure sales tactics, you could get the end result you're looking for, which is a sale and a commission generated. And I'm pretty determined, so I was worked pretty hard at it and did pretty well. But there was a point in my career where I had bought a bunch of stocks that got cut in half on a single day. And the stress was a ton. I felt bad if I lost anybody money. And I remember just feeling, I can't do this anymore. There was no good feeling. I'd lost any belief in what I was doing and any hope to make anybody money doing this career this way. And there are better ways to do it. I know my brother, my brothers still works for Edward Jones and is a financial planner. And I think slow and steady is a good way. If you're building a financial business or a consultative business, if you will. But either way, I didn't feel I could do it anymore. And I kind of bounced around from 2000 to 2005 trying to figure out what I wanted to do next after being a broker all those years, and I couldn't figure it out. And I went to work at my dad's printing store. He owned a Sir Speedy Printing in Villa Park. And I liked a lot about that. I butted heads with my dad. It's hard to work with your dad, I think. It's certainly hard to work for me with mine. I thought, things should be done a certain way. It was obviously his business, so it was going to go his way. And I went out on my own. I looked into getting into printing. I decided I wanted to do my own business and pour all my effort and see all the rewards. But realized printing probably wasn't right at that time. And somebody mentioned that I should be a realtor, and I looked into it, realized it was doing my own thing, running my own business, and a lot of it appealed to me. So I got into real estate in 2005. 10 years is insanely disciplined. I don't know if it's insanely disciplined. But it's how long I did it. It was a silly time. It was a silly time. Kind of think the stock market's a silly time right now. I was talking to a buddy who owns some Meta stock, which he bought in the hundreds and now it's over 700. And he was telling me about a buddy and how much money that he'd made in the market. And I'm going, well, yeah, you buy any big name tech stock in the last 3 years, you've quadrupled your money. If you do it on leverage, or if you buy gold, you've tripled your money. Or you buy, even if you buy an index of the Dow Jones or the NASDAQ, you're making 20, 25% every year for years now. Again, I think for a guy that's watched the stock market and been investing from time to time or very regularly for the last 40 years, I think this is a more crazy market than even the market in 2000, which was the internet bubble, which popped. Good morning, Nasty. How are you? Let's see. It is. If I don't see growth in 2 years, you're gone. I don't know what that means with you, Conquer Cash. Have I gotten into crypto? No. No, I haven't gotten into crypto. I think crypto's a sign of the times. Yeah. It has been. It's probably the leader of the pack. Good morning, Rebecca. How are you this morning? Oh. So anyway, I took off yesterday morning. It felt kind of good. I ended up working at my restaurant job, which was the first time I was there in a few weeks. It's kind of shut down at this time of year, but occasionally we'll host some events, and there were some events going on in the restaurant yesterday. And it'd been so long, I almost didn't even know how to get there. It's about a 35-minute drive maybe, and almost didn't know what highway to get off. I mean, I did, but I've gotten lost going there several times. Good morning, Richard Sternicles. Richard Sternicle, I added an S to your name, I apologize. Let's see. Do I have any money in my portfolio? No, I don't even have any portfolio. I don't have any money or any portfolio, Richard Wallace. 2 years at a job that's disciplined. How was work when the crash happened? You mean the .com? I'd already gotten out of real estate. All right, we'll talk about that. Near the end of, I used to buy cars as a stockbroker every 2 years. I thought, I don't know, I think it was probably to get women or to feel like I was of value or whatever. And I lived in Chicago, and there was an auto show that we'd have every year. And for some reason, I thought buying a new car every couple of years was a smart move. It's not. And I didn't feel I could be a stockbroker anymore. I had an SL 500 Mercedes red convertible, a 1995, and it was paid for. And I sold it and had about $30,000 left after, I don't know, paying off whatever I needed to pay off. And I put that money into the market, had no job, and quickly, within about 6 weeks, turned the 30 grand into 16 grand. And that was like October of 1999. And between October and December, I turned that 16 grand into 100. And in the next year, I turned that 100 into $1 million. It hit $1 million one day. But again, easy come, easy go. The market started changing at the end of, I think the year was 2000, and my strategy wasn't working anymore. And my account over the next several months drifted from $1 million down to about, I don't know, 450,000. And I still had to pay taxes on the money I made the previous year. And I ended up sending the government like $169,000, I think. I was worried I owed more in taxes than was left in my brokerage account. But anyway, paid it off, and it eventually trickled down to nothing. $100 a week. Richard says his brother's been putting $100 a week in the S&P 500. It's a very disciplined. Good for him. His money's tripled. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but at least that's over a 12-year time frame, which is still a lot. And again, yeah, the S&P, everything's going up. Everything's going up. And some things are going up more than others. You know, you almost got to really suck at picking stocks to not be making a lot of money. You got to be trying to find the losers right now. Somebody said I should make story time. My voice is therapeutic. Yeah, thank you. Silver tripled in 8 months, but Coin Collector, yeah, silver did, but I bet gold did too. I bet platinum did. I've never even glanced at what platinum is, but I was at an event and they were talking about gold yesterday, and it was so funny. There's a guy on CNBC named Mohammed El-Arian, and apparently gold's at like 5,000 now, and he predicted gold will be at 6,000 by the end of the year. None of that has anything to do with needs or fundamentals. You could say gold could be at 10,000 at the end of the year, and maybe that'll happen. Because when a stock or an asset class hits a new high, there's no supply of selling above that price. So assets tend to go whoosh, straight up. And that's what we've seen in so many things. Precious metals, all these big tech stocks, cryptocurrency for a while. Those fast food workers need $20 an hour, and this is what you get, says Nasty. Rebecca said, hold on, what has Rebecca said? I don't understand stocks, uneducated on that, I have no idea, good to learn. Yeah, no, I don't know. To me, it's just, I don't know, it's just silly. And again, the stock market's gone up despite all the political and international and world saber rattling. The stock market has completely shrugged off any thing. I know AI is a big transformative thing in society, and I'm using it more than I had. But still. Good morning, Morgan. How are you? If minimum wage is high, well, obviously everything else has to go up with it. Well, I agree with you, Nasty. I'm not one that, I don't know. I think we need some government intervention in the world. But I'd like it as little as possible. In a perfect world, I don't think there'd be a minimum wage. I think supply and demand would dictate wages for laborers. But again, things are getting messed with on one end, and I don't know, as soon as you start messing with something on one end, you're gonna have to make adjustments on the other. And again, it's not a perfect world. We got the Fed cutting interest rates, and we've got, I don't know, people at the top trying to play God. Somebody said they never keep wage close to living cost ever in history except during bartering. I think in its purest form, everything would work out right. Wages would be enough, and businesses, I think the balance of labor and need for it would work out perfectly. Maybe I'm stupid. I'm definitely not stupid, but maybe I'm a little naive. But I think the naivete comes from, I just believe in capitalism and supply and demand. And believe me, people will hop on and call me, oh, that's because you're a boomer, unk. You squandered our wealth. It's because you screwed it up, and you know you have money, and you expect us young people to have money and work hard for it. It's funny because despite my more senior age than a lot of those people, I struggle with the same issues facing a lot of young people in just paying basic bills and keeping a roof over my head because. Again, I'm twice divorced, and I think that puts more financial pressures on human beings than is spoken about. I always just figured I'd make a ton of money and work my way out of it, but I haven't made a ton of money in a while. How is the subbing going? It's going. It's challenging. And I've kind of realized it. It was a stop. It was a quick fix, and hope to grab onto something, meaning. But it is pretty challenging. Always going to different classes and always going to different schools, and I work in a lot of special ed or what are called cross-cat classes with kids with, I don't know, maybe behavioral issues and what have you. And I think that's a lot more challenging. And I kind of think it's what's straining the educational system. And I don't think many are really talking about it. But I've seen teachers that are going, you know, that are tired and are hiding in the lunchroom because they're trying to teach a class and they're trying to integrate kids with very emotional or behavioral issues. I don't know if we should call them disorders. I don't even know if they are disorders. But you'll see a child and you'll go, all right, maybe this child wasn't meant to be sitting in a class for 8 hours a day. You know, I remember when I first got in, I was talking to a kid. He seemed smart and he seemed emotionally somewhere over here. And I'm going, wow, this guy's going to be like a lead singer for a rock band at some point. Because he's got something to say. But I don't know that he needs to be in this classroom trying to sit where he's supposed to, because this isn't working. And I think a lot of my job is to help these kids with whatever their behavioral issue is to fit into the class and to not disrupt the class. And I'll tell you, that's really challenging. I was mentioned this to my friend ChatGPT the other day, and they go, well, that makes sense, especially working in the cross-cat category, because you're basically a frontline mental health worker without training, support, or pay. And it's ridiculously true. You know, I'm a guy that's seen some things and been through some things and a loving father, but I don't have any special PhD in child psychology or something like that, you know, and I'm the support system. And certainly I'm not paid like a mental health professional. So I think you add those things up and it can be exhausting and tiring and frustrating at times. Let's see. That, plus I realized, and I mean, I should have known this from the beginning, that substitute teaching couldn't, couldn't be a full-time job. And maybe it wasn't intended to for me, but maybe I thought it would develop into one. But again, it's hard for me because I switch schools every day and I don't ever see the same kids. So I don't even have a chance to build a relationship with a young kid that needs some special attention because I'm this new guy and they're wondering, what are you doing here? Who are you? And I'm trying to figure out what makes this child tick or what his, challenges are. And I have to do that in a new class every day. So, to answer your question, subbing is challenging. Challenging. Do I teach in a large city? Not a large city. I live in Appleton, Wisconsin, and it's a town about 75,000. And I teach in this area. I don't know, somebody's telling me to be a great musician. I just don't think that every child is meant to sit in a classroom 8 hours a day on a mat listening to the teacher go through ABCs. I think when I was a kid, they were sent to special schools or whatever, and I'm not lobbying for that, but I think right now we're integrating them into a classroom, and I'm not sure it's even beneficial for them, and I'm sure it's tiring the teachers and probably straining the educational system. I mean, I've been in classrooms and there'll be 4 adults in there trying to manage various kids, And I'm going, what's going on in here? I don't think it was this way when I was a child. So Rebecca said some kids learn better visual and hands-on. Yeah, I don't know. Probably. And maybe some of these kids need to be running around a room smashing pots and pans with a ladle and go, hey, these are making cool sounds. I bet I could become a drummer or something. And I'm not trying to predict where they're going to go in life, but I just, I don't know. I'm not sure what the answer is. Did I go to school to learn how to teach? No. I don't even know if you go to school to learn how to teach. I was working with a young teacher the other day that's fresh out of school and just started a few weeks ago. And I could see the strain in her face. I've been working with experienced teachers that I covered for a woman in an elementary class the other day that might add 23 kids in it or something like that. But I think 5 of those children would have been, I think, needed to be maybe in specially instructive class. So yeah, we have a glorious audience today. We got 47 people watching at this early hour. We got 30 thumbs up. I'm gonna get a little more coffee and we can talk more. Tar Heel says a bigger issue is the children's home training. Well, Tar Heel, yeah, that's an issue that's beyond yours and mine to fix. I don't doubt at all that a lot of these kids come from broken homes to shattered homes. And I worry about them. And I'm not blaming the kids or anything. I'm just saying, putting them all in one classroom, I think is straining the educational system and making it maybe cost a lot more and maybe lowering the quality of the education for the top kids that are there and are excited about learning, and the teacher's frustrated because her hands are more than full. Oh yeah, Rebecca, there's a ton of other options. You can be smart in all sorts of ways. I think some of these kids are probably brilliant that I'm talking about, but I just don't believe that they're meant to sit on a mat and listen for 8 hours a day. Somebody says they think working needs to be part of schooling. School should be like a learning place for life skills. I'll tell you what, I've been in some new schools, new high schools, and they have some really cool rooms in there. Yeah, which I think would be like vocational training. And we had shop class in high school and drafting, and we had various industrial arts and what have you. But the classes look really cool now. I think there was a robotics class in one of these, and there was like a Indy 500 car, at least half of it up on a lift, and just, I think you could learn. I think it'd be cool to learn how to put an engine together and how to take it apart in not a real world setting, but as close to that, an academic real world setting as you can. No, Tar Heel, I'm just telling you, we're mixing them together in a way and we're adding teachers, me, to the room to try and make it work. But there'll be kids coming and going in and out of class, getting taken to see a therapist or various needs, or taken to rooms, and it seems it's a lot more confusing than I remember school being when I went. Yeah, somebody said they learned welding. Yeah, there's so many cool things you can learn. I mean, there's so many cool things, and not everyone needs to learn how to diagram a sentence, perhaps. I mean, honestly, how valuable, I don't even know. I couldn't, but I remember we'd draw the words on a line, and we'd put lines down and say noun or subject, and, I'm not sure. They're trying really hard. I'll say this about the educational system. They're trying really hard. And I'm not totally sure, even from my somewhat in the system vantage point, that I know what the right solution is. Yeah, I'm gonna get a little more coffee. Let's see what. Richard Wallace said, makes me a little uncomfortable, Richard Wallace, thinking you know what recurring themes in my life are, but it's a recurring theme in my life. When I get in a job, I think of ways to fix them. I do. You had a class where you baked cookies. Yeah. You got to learn about cars and cookie baking. You think I deserve a raise? I'm just a substitute teacher. And I mean, and again, I'm not trying to say I deserve a raise or anybody deserves a raise. I'm just saying I'm not sure it's within the capabilities of anybody to manage a class of, it's not the number of kids. It's not like there's 40 kids in a class. It's that I think sometimes 5 of those kids shouldn't be in that setting. And the way they deal with it is have me watch 2 of them and another adult watch 2 and then another adult watch 1 and bring them in and out of rooms. And I don't know. I mean, maybe it's working. What do I know? Maybe it's working. I always thought teachers did pretty well. And maybe it's because I was living in Naperville and the average teacher there, I think makes like 95 grand. You can look it up. And it seems for 3 months off of the year and holidays and great benefits, that's pretty good money. Here in Wisconsin, it sounds like a teacher pay is starts in the upper 40s maybe, so it might be a lot less. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. So, what I think I have right now are 3 jobs and no career. And if you can add social media, you could almost say that's a 4th job. Because I certainly put a lot of work, time, and effort into content creation. I talk for about an hour live every day. And I edit for 2 or 3 hours a day, which is a ridiculous time drain and energy drain. And I think I was trying to stick to a schedule that was beyond my capabilities of maintaining. Going live every day, feeling like I couldn't miss a day, feeling like I had to edit a bunch or else I'd fall further behind. Maybe caring about this too much. Maybe caring about everything too much. You know, Richard Wallace, or whatever his name is, said he remembered me wanting to fix Target. Maybe I care too much. I did want to fix Target. I wanted to make it run better. I did want to fix my dad's printing store. I mean, I want to fix the restaurant I work at. There's no doubt. Maybe I'm doing this show to fix, save, change you guys. To share my experiences and open myself up so somebody that's drinking too much or smoking weed or struggling in a relationship can learn something from one of my dumb mistakes. I think that's what I'm doing. Did I have success in fixing any of those? No. Well, I try and fix, save, change people. I've talked about it a lot. I can't even fix, save, change myself. And I think that's what codependent is. I think kids that are raised in volatile situations or whatever, trying to make things okay. And they're so busy trying to make the world okay that their lives become a mess. And I kind of think that's what goes on with me on a day-by-day basis. And I'll tell you, businesses don't want to be fixed, saved, changed. So I struggle with work because I can't help but go in and go, well, why are we entering our orders this way? This doesn't make any sense at all. You know, or I'm dealing with customers that are consistently not happy for various reasons. And I'm talking to employees that are also upset. Seems like we could make this work a little better. Perhaps if I was running the show. Tar Heel, I think you have it backwards. I think I'm the therapist for you. Oh. And I don't charge you $100 an hour, Tar Heel. Galileo, Jesus, and Plato were ahead of their time and unappreciated in life, but then every revered in death, and everyone adopted their ideas. So maybe after my death, the restaurant I work at will change its way it enters drinks and calculates tips, and maybe the school system will change. Somebody will find this. That'll be like the lost scrolls. Somebody will, of Ken, the book of Ken. Hey, we should have done it this way. Good morning, Jack Taylor. How are you? Well, I think I am. Hey, good morning, Brian. How are you? Oh, it's nice. So it's 6:12. I am an efficiency expert, and I don't consciously know it. I put a lot of pressure on myself to, like, I look at the clock, I calculate when I need to get in the shower, what I could fill the next 19 minutes of the most effective way before I head off to work, and how will I make my drive to work most productive? And I struggle with that because I have a hard time putting things down. If put in charge of an inner city school classroom, what changes would I make to get their lives on track? I don't know. I've never been put in charge of an inner city classroom. I don't know that, I'm not sure you can get their lives on track in school. I think the issues of an inner city are big and probably start at home. And to expect teachers that see kids a few hours a day, I mean, you can make a slight difference, but again, I don't want that, whoever asked that. I need to not try and solve the issues of inner city classrooms. You know, what I need to focus on is paying my bill, and I hate to say it, paying my bills, seeing my kids, and being the best dad I can. Somebody asked me a second ago, if I was put in charge of an inner city classroom, how would I positively impact these children's lives or something. I need to not do that. That's all I try and think of. How can I make this better, or this place better, or this work better, or this person smile a little more? And I do it so much that I can't even take care of myself. You know, I'm working 3 jobs to pay the bills. And I need to take a deep breath and stop trying to fix the world and fix my own little world as best as I can. And for that, I think some financial stability would go a long way. Richard Wallace was saying that I've had a lot of career instability since I've done my show. I haven't. I did the same job for 17 years. And I left that 3 years ago. I'll tell you what, when you're 53 and you leave a career you've done most of your life, I think it's hard to figure out what you're going to do next. And that's what you're seeing right here. I feel pretty good. I'm right here. It's taking me working at 3 jobs and feeling underemployed, whatever that means. Overemployed, underemployed, 2 sides of the same coin. I don't know which applies to me. Whoopsie. Stacy does hair and she's as busy as ever. Well, I don't think my gift in this world is hair. Do you? Maybe. Beauty school dropout. I don't know the rest of the words. Beauty school dropout. Your dad faces that in his 50s, Ken, after working in the RAF for many years. Royal Air Force? Yeah. Richard, you've talked enough. Can you quiet down a little bit, if you will? You know, if you would, you know, I don't need to rehash why I did everything. And maybe I'm oversharing, but, you know, yeah. I should open my own little pub. Thank you, Rebecca Tilly, for understanding that, my bad version of the song. I should open my, well, okay, Tara Matthews, I'm going to put you in timeout for a minute. Because you said those 2 bad words. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. I'm going to get a little more coffee. Beauty school dropout. Go back to high school. Beauty school dropout. So it is Thursday morning. And I tell you what, it's been really cold. And I asked for a cold winter. Maybe God blessed me with what I asked for, more so than I expected. I was just coming back from the coffee shop last night, and it was typically, it's been below zero most of the time for the last week. And that's pretty unpleasant. You saw your dad struggle finding a job he loved after he left the Air Force. Yeah. I don't think I ever loved being a realtor. I need some grease lightning to warm me up, I do. Maybe I should not go into work today and I should watch Grease like 12 times. I saw Grease at the movie theater. I've talked about it before. I'm almost sure that Jaws 2 and Grease came out at the same time. And I went to the movie theater to see Jaws 2, but was sold out, so I ended up seeing Grease that day. What do I think about Zig Ziglar's? If you'll be hard on yourself, life will be easy on you. But if you insist upon being easy on yourself, life's going to be very hard on you. Is that a quote or is that a book? Well, I'm certainly hard on myself. And life's still challenging. So I guess that'd be it. I'm very hard on myself, but I still think life's still challenging. But you expect it. If you are difficult on yourself, nothing that life throws at you is going to be overly shocking or something you don't feel you can handle. Because the worst critic is the voice in your head. So yeah, you can roll with it better, I guess. Something about a headboard, I don't know. Being too self-defeating can be destructive. I think that's the key to faith and spirituality. I think it gets you inherently in a more positive frame of mind. And I read somebody gave me a book, a little kind of daily passage thing to read. And I read it yesterday, and it was talking about Jesus telling his disciples, asking them, "Do you love me?" And again, I'm not Christian. I'm not a Christian. I go to a Christian church, but I think what Christianity has set up is the best solution for mental health there is. That I think love is key and gratitude is key, and Christianity immerses itself in love and gratitude, and they give you this perfect being named Jesus with which to love and to be thankful for. Because Jesus, who you're supposed to love more than your children or your parents or your family, will never let you down because he's just this perfect ideal of goodness that gave up his life and made your lives okay. So since he can't let you down because he's just an ideal, you can love him unconditionally. He's never going to yell at you or leave the toilet seat up or not put the cap on the toothpaste or oversleep or be in a bad mood like your husband, your kids, your parents, your jobs, your car. He's not going to break down. And if you can focus your feelings on Jesus, this perfection, this perfect being, instead of the cold weather, your boss at work, your flat tire, your bills, you're always going to be in a good frame of mind. Oh, that's good. That is good. What service do I mean? I don't know what you're talking about. Somebody said they've been messed up bad, and if it wasn't for Christ, they wouldn't be around today. Do I pray? I pray all the time, Richard. Do I truly believe Yeshua exists? The world is as we see it. Do I believe Yeshua? I mean, I'm not Christian. Somebody said empathy is most important. Empathy is most important. So what I need to do today is, no, I don't know what you're saying. If you can't empathize, you can't love, right? I don't know. I'm not sure. Do I believe Jesus is who he claimed to be in the Bible? I think the Bible are words written by man. I don't put the Bible up as holy words really at all anymore. Yeah. I'm aware of what empathy means, Jess, but you just seem to be strangely putting empathy up at the top of the hierarchy of emotions, and I just don't feel like discussing it, really. I don't feel that empathy is up as high as love, or empathy is needed for love. But I just didn't feel like really going down that path this morning. Hello, Katrina. How are you? How are you this morning, Katrina? Somebody disagrees with you, Jess, and says empathy has destroyed the West. Now, again, I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to put love and gratitude up here, and you can put empathy where you want, but I don't think it's Yeah, I think always imagining somebody else's perspective is just going to have you spinning your wheels, you know? So, am I going to go into school today? Is there going to be a job available for me today? Is there going to be a job available for me today? Well, people did write the Bible, but they recorded the words of Jesus. That's why their gospels, according to eyewitnesses like John, Mark, and Matthew. I'm not even sure that John, Mark, and Matthew are the disciples that wrote the words in the Bible. I don't even know if that's accepted fact or even accepted belief. So I'm not sure you're right about that. Yeah. So the challenge I'm dealing with this morning is going in and substitute teaching a worthwhile use of the next 8 hours of my day. And I'm not sure that it is. But I'm also not sure that I need to make that determination really. And that maybe right and wrong is maybe I try and define it too clearly. And maybe whatever I decide isn't that relevant in the global scheme of things. And maybe no matter what I decide or what I do today, or everything's going to be okay. So it is Thursday morning. We have a glorious audience today. I bet you if we tried really hard, we could push it above 50 thumbs up, and that'd be awesome. So if anybody's new here, I go live almost every morning, but I'm not going to commit to every morning. I think it was starting to weigh on me, the concept of going live every morning and editing as much as I was editing and saying the right things or being a certain way or fixing all sorts of things, and maybe the best thing to do at times is just take a deep breath and realize things will be okay and keep putting one foot in front of the other. Hello, Ann Ogden. How are you this morning? How are you this morning? Again, it's been kind of fun hopping back on this morning after having a day off yesterday. Gave me a slightly different perspective and feeling a little less pressure to do this show, or again, to make a difference, to feel like it matters, to change the world. All things I need to put down a little bit. But if I don't, that'll be okay too. But anyway, again, I want to thank you for joining on this Thursday morning. If you're new to my show, please subscribe. I appreciate you for hopping on, sharing a cup of coffee with me. Hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful week. Hope you are feeling good. Hope you are loving yourself. Hope you are forgiving yourself. And as always, I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.